Welcome to the Chronically Curious. I'm Lindsay Raquel Johnson. I was married for 17 years. It was a controlling relationship from the very beginning. There were red flags all the way back in the first week that we were together, and I just didn't recognize them because we're not taught in general about red flags when we talk about intimate partner violence in our society. We're talking about the physical violence. We don't talk about the emotional abuse, the psychological abuse. We don't talk about the isolating and the financial problems and all of that stuff. And so you grow up not knowing the red flags, and then once you realize that you're in this situation, it's too late. Except it's not too late, okay? Here's the thing. It is never too late. It might feel like it's too late. I was in that relationship for 17 years before I left. But it doesn't matter whether you've been in an abusive relationship for a month or whether you've been in this abusive relationship for 60 years. If you realize that you are being emotionally or psychologically abused, if you realize you're being physically abused, if you realize that you're being controlled in terms of where you can go and when and what you can do and all of these things, it's never too late to leave. It might be hard. You might have children together, you might have dogs, you might not have a job. That can all be figured out. It is never too late to leave, not until your partner actually kills you. Then it's too late. But at any point before that, just get up and get out. You can do it. And if you're not sure whether or not you're in an abusive relationship, then Google the power and control wheel. It breaks things down on several different levels. There is the physical, there's, trying to manipulate children, there's using finances, controlling finances, there's the emotional and psychological stuff. It kind of breaks down a lot of the things that, you'll wish you had known to look for as red flags earlier on. When it would have still been easier to leave, right? Because it always does feel like, well, if I had just left at this point, everything would have been fine. But now it's too late. I understand. I've been there. But it really, truly is never too late. And if you have children, you have to think of them too. Because in general, there's a trickle-down effect, right? They might only be emotionally and psychologically abusing you at this moment, and then things get more stressful for them, and it starts trickling down and they start yelling at the kids too, or saying mean things to the kids about the kids. Your responsibility is to make sure that your kids are safe, that your kids are in an environment where they know that they're loved, they know that things are stable, they know that they don't have to watch one of their parents emotionally, psychologically, or physically abusing another parent. And you might think that you've managed to protect them from that they don't know. It only happens behind closed doors and all of that stuff. I can tell you from talking to people who were raised in that sort of environment that you can never hide it completely. The kids know. The kids know what's going on. And entirely apart from them being hurt directly by that other parent, the one who's abusing you, there's also the issue of what they're learning from it. And you frequently find that people who become abusers or people who end up in abusive marriages were raised in that kind of an environment. I was not. But being raised in that high control religious environment set me up. I was innocent, I didn't have much exposure to the world. And I didn't know what I was getting into, and I didn't know how to get out of it as things started going wrong. I also didn't share what was happening, which is something that a lot of people who find themselves in an abusive relationship do, right? They don't talk about it. They just try to cope on their own. There was an extra element for me in that when I came out to my family, We have a great relationship now, but when I first came out, things kind of went kaboom, and I did not have a good relationship with my family for a while. And I knew that if I said, hey, my wife is abusing me, some of them would be like, well, that wouldn't happen if you had just married a man, which is patently absurd. But, you know, there are people who are going to think that. And so then you kind of protect the tribe, right? There's already so much nonsense, so much hatred that people are spewing about queer people. And you don't want to give anybody any ammo. And so you keep your mouth shut. And that's not a good thing. So whether you're queer or not, if you're in a situation of intimate partner violence, get out. You can do it. I believe in you.